Chapter 1. The First Time I Tried to Speak. When I was young, English was like a faraway place. I could hear it, but I could not touch it. I could not enter it. It sounded beautiful but strange. I watched other students speak English with ease. Their mouths moved fast. Their words sounded smooth. I listened, but I stayed silent. Inside, I wanted to speak too, but outside, I just smiled and nodded. I was scared. I was shy. My heart would beat fast whenever I heard English. I felt like I didn't belong. In my class, there were always a few students who spoke confidently. Their hands went up when the teacher asked a question. Their answers came quickly. The teacher smiled at them. The class listened to them. I looked at them and thought, how do they do it? Will I ever be like them? I stayed quiet, hoping the teacher would not pick me. I was afraid of making a mistake. I was afraid that others would laugh. My fear was louder than my voice. At home, we spoke our native language. No one practiced English. We had no books in English. No one listened to English songs. My world was full of my own language. It was comfortable, but it was also a wall. I could see English, but I could not reach it. I wanted to break that wall. I just didn't know how. Then, one day, something small happened. I was in the school library. I saw a thin book with colorful pages. It was a storybook for children. It was in English. I opened it. There were pictures of animals. A cat was sleeping. A dog was running. A bird was flying. I looked at the pictures. I looked at the words. I didn't understand all of them, but I understood some. I read the sentence out loud. The dog is running. My voice was slow. My words were soft. But I said them, and it felt good. The next day, I read the same page again. I read it louder. I read it better. I didn't tell anyone. It was my secret. My little moment with English. That's when it started. Not with speaking, but with listening and reading. Not with grammar, but with sound. After that, I started watching cartoons in English. At first, I didn't understand much, but I liked the voices. I liked the fun. I watched them every day. I heard the same words again and again. Hello. Come here. Thank you. I didn't translate them. I felt them. I copied them. I started saying them to myself. I looked in the mirror and said, "Let's go." I made silly faces. I used funny voices. It made me laugh, but it also helped me learn. I started to listen to English songs. I didn't know all the words, but I liked the rhythm. I sang along. I copied the sounds. I didn't care if I was right. I just wanted to try. I sang alone. I listened alone. I practiced alone. But something inside me was changing. My ears were learning the music of English. My mouth was learning to move in new ways. Then came a big moment. I was in a small shop with my cousin. A tourist came in. He looked confused. He said, "Excuse me. Where is the train station?" I looked at him. My hands got cold. My heart beat fast. My cousin looked at me. I wanted to run away, but then I remembered a line from a cartoon. I said, "Go straight," then left. The man smiled. "Thank you," he said. And just like that, it was over. But for me, it was just beginning. I felt proud. I had spoken English, not in a test, not in class, in real life, to a real person. And it worked. After that, I started speaking to myself every day. I walked to school and named things. Tree, car, dog, house. I talked about my morning. I woke up, I brushed my teeth, I had breakfast. The sentences were small, but they were mine. They were real. I wasn't copying from a textbook. I was speaking from my own life. My family noticed. Sometimes they laughed. "Why are you talking to yourself?" they asked. I didn't mind. I smiled. I knew why I was doing it. I was practicing. I was building my English, brick by brick, word by word. Looking back, I know now what I didn't know then. Speaking English doesn't start with grammar books. It doesn't start with perfect pronunciation. It starts with listening, with copying, with small sentences, with trying, with failing, and trying again. If you are afraid to speak English, I understand you. I was like you. But here is what I learned. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know everything. You just have to start. Speak even if your voice is small. Speak even if your sentences are short. Speak even if no one is listening, because your voice matters. And one day, you will look back like me and smile. This was my beginning. A small book, a cartoon voice, a song, a mirror, a moment, and a choice to speak. Chapter 2. Learning to Speak Through Mistakes. For a long time, I believed one thing. I had to be perfect to speak English. I thought every word had to be right. Every sentence had to be correct. If I made a mistake, people would laugh. They would think I was stupid. So, I waited. I waited to feel ready. I waited for the perfect moment. But the truth is, that moment never came. Day after day, I stayed silent. I listened. I read. I understood. But I did not speak. I was afraid. I thought, what if I say it wrong? What if people correct me? What if they laugh? That fear was strong. It kept my mouth closed. It kept my voice locked inside. But one day, something inside me changed. I was tired of waiting. I was tired of being quiet. I thought, maybe I will make a mistake, but maybe that's okay. So I tried. I started speaking. At first, it was simple. "Hello. How are you?" "I'm fine." My voice shook. My hands felt cold. But I did it anyway. The first time I spoke to someone new, I said the wrong thing. I wanted to say, "I am hungry," but I said, "I am angry." The person looked at me, confused. Then they laughed, and I laughed too. It was embarrassing, but it was also funny, and I did not die. I made a mistake, but I survived. That day, I learned something powerful. Mistakes do not kill you. They teach you. They show you what to fix, what to say next time, what to do better. They are not the end. They are the beginning. After that, I made more mistakes, many more. I said things that made no sense. I forgot words. I mixed up sentences. People corrected me, sometimes kindly, sometimes not. But each time I learned. Each time I grew. There was one time I wanted to say, I like cooking, but I said, I like being cooked. The other person laughed hard. I felt red in the face. I wanted to hide. But later I laughed too. That mistake stayed in my memory. I never made it again. That is how we learn, through doing, through failing, and through trying again. At first, every mistake felt like a punch. It hurt. I felt stupid. I felt ashamed. But then, slowly, I stopped feeling that way. I started seeing mistakes like little steps, steps that took me forward, not backward. I started to smile when someone corrected me. I said, "Thank you." I did not see it as failure. I saw it as progress. I remember one teacher who helped me a lot. I answered a question in class and I said it wrong. Everyone laughed. I looked down. I wanted to cry. But the teacher smiled and said, "Good try. You're not wrong. You're just learning." That sentence stayed with me. It gave me courage. I began to talk more, in shops, in parks, with friends, with strangers. I made mistakes. I asked questions. I forgot words. But every time I got a little braver. My voice got stronger. My fear got smaller. I started to understand that English was not just about rules. It was about real moments, real people, real communication. If I said something wrong but the other person understood me, that was a success. That was real English. Over time, I learned to laugh at myself. When I made a mistake, I didn't feel shame. I felt human. Everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers. I started to watch interviews. Even famous people made grammar mistakes. And no one cared. That made me feel better. That made me feel free. Now I believe this. If you are not making mistakes, you are not learning. Mistakes are not problems. They are proof that you are trying. They are signs that you are moving forward. Every time you speak, you are practicing. Every wrong sentence is helping you build a right one. My learning secret was this. I gave myself permission to be wrong. I gave myself permission to speak badly, to be laughed at, to be corrected, because that's how I learned. That's how I improved. If you wait until you are perfect, you will never speak. If you wait until you know everything, you will wait forever. So don't wait. Speak now. Make mistakes now. Be bold now. You will be surprised. Your mistakes will not break you. They will build you. They will make you better. They will make you stronger. One day, you will look back and laugh at the things you used to say. And you will feel proud because you didn't give up. You didn't wait. You didn't stay silent. You tried. You failed. You tried again. That is what makes you a learner. That is what makes you grow. Chapter 3. The Mirror and Me. There was a time when I had no one to speak English with. My friends didn't speak it. My parents didn't understand it. In my classroom, English was something we read, not something we lived. I wanted to talk. I wanted to practice. But there was no one around. So I found a new partner, my mirror. It started as a small idea. One day I stood in front of the mirror and said, "Hello." Just one word. My reflection stared back at me. I smiled. I tried again. How are you? It felt strange. It felt silly, but it was also fun. My voice bounced off the walls. It was mine. I heard it clearly. For the first time, I was both the speaker and the listener. Every morning, before school, I stood in front of that mirror. I made up conversations. I asked questions. I answered them. I played both roles. What's your name? My name is Sam. Where are you going? I'm going to the market. I moved my hands. I made funny faces. I used my body. I acted like two different people. It felt like a game. But it was more than a game. It was practice. It was power. Sometimes I pretended I was in a shop. I would say, "How much is this?" Then I became the shopkeeper and replied, "It's $5. Other times, I was at the airport. "Can I see your passport?" "Here it is." I created small scenes. I gave myself situations. I used real-life words, real-life tone, real-life rhythm. At first, my sentences were short, simple, but after some weeks, they grew longer. I started to describe things. Today is sunny. I am wearing a red shirt. I have 2 classes this morning. I talked about my day. I talked about the weather. I talked about my dreams. I didn't need a teacher. I didn't need a classroom. I needed only one thing, a mirror and my voice. The mirror showed me everything, not just my words, but my eyes, my smile, my fear. It showed me my confidence growing. One day, I noticed something. My mouth was moving smoothly. My tongue didn't get stuck. My eyes looked straight ahead. I was speaking without stopping. That was a good day. The mirror became my coach. If I looked scared, I changed my expression. If I looked bored, I added energy. I learned that communication is not just words. It is your face, your hands, your tone. The mirror helped me become aware of those things. I watched myself and I improved myself. Some days I made mistakes. I laughed. I corrected them. I started again. There was no pressure. No one was watching. That gave me freedom. I could be myself. I could take risks. And slowly, I became fluent. I remember one morning before a school presentation. I stood in front of the mirror and practiced my whole speech. I acted it out with hand gestures. I smiled. I paused. I made eye contact with my reflection. When I went to school and gave the speech, I was not afraid. I had already done it before, many times, in the mirror. I think the mirror gave me something even more important than words. It gave me belief. It made me believe in my voice. It made me believe that I could speak English, not one day in the future, but today, right now. With the tools I had, I did not wait for perfect English. I used the English I had, and every day that English grew stronger, because I showed up, because I spoke, because I looked myself in the eyes and said, "You can do this." If you want to practice speaking, find a mirror. Stand in front of it. Say hello. Ask yourself questions. Answer them. Make up stories. Talk about your day. Say what you feel. It doesn't matter if your grammar is perfect. What matters is that you are speaking, that you are using your voice, that you are building your confidence, The mirror is always there. It listens. It reflects. It teaches. It never judges. It shows you how far you've come and how far you can go. Every big speaker once stood in silence. Every confident voice once shook. But they practiced. They believed. They used what they had. And one day, their voice became strong. You can do the same. Start with one sentence, then another, then more. Watch yourself grow. Let the mirror become your friend, your stage, your classroom. You don't need anything fancy, just a mirror and you. Chapter 4. Turning Everyday Life into Practice. My school gave me books. My teacher gave me homework. But real progress came from something different, my daily life. I learned that I didn't need a classroom to practice English. I didn't need a perfect environment. I only needed one thing: my attention. Every morning, I opened my eyes and said, "Good morning," out loud. Just 2 words. But it changed something in me. It made me start my day in English. I got out of bed and looked around. I started naming things. This is my bed. That is my pillow. I am opening the curtain. I didn't use big words. I used simple ones. The ones I knew, the ones that were already part of my life. When I brushed my teeth, I said, "I am brushing my teeth." When I put on my shoes, I said, "Left foot, right foot." While eating breakfast, I described the food. This is bread. This is egg. It is hot. Every action became a chance to speak. I was not just living my day. I was turning my day into practice. At first, it felt funny. I was talking to myself. But slowly, I stopped thinking about it. It became normal. It became part of my rhythm. Like breathing. Like walking. My brain was learning something important. English is not just a subject. It is a way of living. When I walked outside, I looked around. I named what I saw. That is a tree. That is a bus. The sky is blue. The road is busy. I started thinking in English. Not translating, just thinking. My thoughts became simple English lines. They were short, but they were real. And they were mine. One day, I was cooking with my mother. She was making tea. I stood beside her and spoke to myself. She is boiling water. She is adding tea leaves. The smell is nice. My mother laughed. "Are you making a video?" she asked. I smiled. "Number I'm learning." That day, I realized something. Everything can be a lesson if you make it one. Even small tasks became chances to learn. While sweeping the floor, I said, "I am cleaning." While washing dishes, I said, "This is a plate. This is a spoon." While feeding my cat, I said, "Eat slowly. Good cat." I even talked to the plants. "You are growing. You look happy today." It was simple, it was fun, and it was working. In the evenings, I watched English cartoons. I turned on the subtitles. I didn't just watch, I listened. I read. I repeated lines. When a character said, "Let's go," I said it too. When someone said, "I'm tired," I copied their tone. I wasn't just learning words. I was learning how they sounded, how they moved, how they felt. Sometimes I paused the video and repeated a whole line. I looked in the mirror and said it again. I tried to match the emotion, the energy. It was like acting. It was like playing. But it was also learning. My favorite part of the day was bedtime. I lay in bed and talked to myself. Today I studied. I ate rice. I watched a video. I feel sleepy now. These were small reflections, but they helped. They made me review my day. In English, they made me end my day with practice. There was no pressure, no fear, no grades, just me and my voice, just simple sentences, real moments, daily life. Over time, my confidence grew. My English didn't feel like a second language anymore. It started to feel like a second home, comfortable, familiar, safe. That is the secret. Don't wait for a perfect time to speak. Don't wait for someone to talk to you. Talk to the world around you. Talk to your day. Talk to your life. Use the English you have. Use it in real ways. Make your room your classroom. Make your chores your exercises. Make your free time your training time. You don't need extra hours. You only need extra attention. The best part? You don't even need to leave your house. You can practice English while washing your face, while tying your shoes, while drinking water. Every moment is a chance to speak, a chance to grow. When English becomes part of your daily rhythm, it stops being scary. It stops feeling like a school subject. It becomes a part of you, like music in the background, like a friend beside you. So don't wait. Start now. Look around. Name what you see. Describe what you do. Talk to your dog. Talk to your mirror. Talk to your tea. It doesn't matter who listens. What matters is that you speak. Let your daily life teach you. Let your daily words guide you. This is not just practice. This is your real classroom, and you are the best student in it. Chapter 5. Real Conversations. The Big Test. One day something changed. I was sitting in a park. The weather was good. I was thinking in English like I always did. The sun is bright. The birds are singing. Just simple thoughts. Just my daily habit. Then a man walked by. He looked like a tourist. He stopped and looked around. Then he turned to me. "Excuse me," he said. "Do you know where the museum is?" My heart jumped. I felt frozen. But I remembered that moment years ago in the shop with another tourist. I had done it once. I could do it again. I looked at him. My voice came out slow but clear. "Yes, go straight, then left." He smiled. "Thank you." I smiled too, but inside, I was dancing. This was real, a real conversation, and I had survived it. That small talk gave me a big idea. What if I could speak to more people, not just to myself, not just to my mirror, but real people, people from different countries, people who speak English every day. That night, I went online. I searched for apps where people learn languages together. I found one. I made a profile. I wrote, "Hello, I am learning English. I want to talk." At first, no one replied. Then a message came. "Hi, I'm from Brazil. Want to practice together?" My hands shook. My heart raced, but I typed back, "Yes." Let's try. We sent voice messages. At first, I only listened. Then, I sent one back. Hello, my name is... I am from... My voice was slow. My words were not perfect, but they were mine. And the best part? The other person didn't laugh. They replied kindly. Nice to meet you. Every day I sent more voice notes. I listened to more replies. I learned new words, new ways to say things. When I didn't understand something, I asked, "Can you repeat?" What does that mean? And they helped me. I wasn't afraid of mistakes anymore, because I was not alone. I joined group chats. Some people typed. Some sent voice messages. Some used video. I watched and learned. I copied their phrases. That's cool. I agree. What do you think? I used short lines at first. I didn't try to sound smart. I just tried to sound real. Sometimes I said the wrong word. Sometimes I froze and said nothing. But no one was angry. People were patient. Some made mistakes too. That helped me feel safe. I realized learning is not a test. It's a team game. The best part of these real conversations was the feeling of connection, the feeling of being understood. I was talking to someone far away, but we understood each other. We were learning together. My English was not perfect, but it was powerful. It was a bridge. One day I joined a live group call. There were 5 people, from India, from Mexico, from Turkey, from Indonesia, and me. We all spoke English. We all spoke slowly. But we all tried. We laughed. We made jokes. We asked questions. I said, "I like cooking." Another said, "What do you cook?" I answered, "Rice, chicken, and eggs." They laughed. Me too. That conversation lasted 15 minutes, but I remember it like a festival. It was full of energy, full of hope. It was my proof. I can do this. I am doing this. My voice matters. Every real conversation became a new chapter in my learning. I stopped thinking, what if I make a mistake? And started thinking, what can I learn from this? I started to enjoy the process. I didn't wait to be perfect. I used the English I had. Sometimes I said something and got no reply. That was okay. Sometimes people corrected me. That was okay too. Because every mistake became a lesson. Every lesson made me better. Soon, I wasn't just practicing English. I was living it. I was making friends, sharing stories, learning about other countries, other cultures. I saw that English was more than a language. It was a connection, a bridge between hearts, between people. At the end of each call or chat, I felt proud. Not because I spoke like a native speaker, but because I didn't hide. I showed up. I used my voice. And that made all the difference. So, if you're afraid to talk to others in English, I understand. I was you. But here's my advice. Start small. Say hello, ask one question, send one voice message, join one group. Don't wait to be perfect. Just be present. Real conversations are not exams. They are experiences. They are your real test. And they are your best teacher. English is not just something to study. It's something to share. Share your story. Share your day. Share your smile. Because someone, somewhere, is ready to listen. Chapter 6. My secret tools. People often ask me, how did you learn to speak English like that? They expect a big answer. Maybe I went to a special school or had an expensive teacher. But the truth is simple. My real teachers were cartoons, songs, and silence. Yes, silence. Because in silence, I practiced. I listened. I copied. I learned. I didn't have fancy tools, but I had secret tools, and they worked. One of the first things I used was cartoons. Yes, children's shows. They speak slowly. They use simple words. They repeat a lot. I watched them not for fun, but for practice. I watched how the characters moved their lips. I listened to how they said, hello, goodbye, let's go, what's that? Then I repeated those lines. Out loud. I said them in front of the mirror. I changed my voice to match the character. I laughed. I played. But I was learning. Then I added music. English songs, not fast rap or deep poetry. Just simple songs with feeling. Songs that told a story. I listened again and again. I looked up the lyrics. I sang along. I didn't care if I was out of tune. I cared that I was practicing English. When I didn't know a word, I searched for it. Then I sang it again. Slowly, clearly. Music taught me rhythm, emotion, speed. Music made English fun. Another big tool was reading out loud. I found simple books, books for kids. I read them every day, not in my head, but with my mouth. I read each word clearly. I tried to feel the flow of the sentence. I read the same page many times. I didn't care about speed. I cared about sound. When I read, I was training my tongue, my lips, my breath. I was teaching my body how to speak English. But the biggest tool of all was my own voice. Every morning, I talked to myself, while brushing my teeth, while making breakfast. I said simple things. I woke up late. I'm hungry. Today is Monday. No grammar rules, no pressure, just words, every day. This daily habit changed me. It made English part of my thinking. Then I started recording myself. I used my phone. I opened the recorder. I said a few lines. I described my room. I talked about the weather. Then I listened to it. At first, I didn't like my voice. It sounded strange, but I kept going. Each time, I noticed small things. I was saying am too fast, or missing a the. I didn't get angry. I just tried again, and slowly I improved. The internet also became my classroom, but I used it wisely. I didn't just watch random videos. I searched for short lessons. I watched interviews. I listened to real conversations. I paused, repeated, took notes. I learned words I could use in daily life. I made playlists of helpful videos, and I watched them often. I also started writing small notes in English, just a sentence or two. Buy milk. Call friend. Finish homework. I stuck them on my wall, my table, my mirror. Every time I saw them, I read them out loud. It was simple, but powerful. These notes made English part of my space. Another trick I used was talking to Google. I didn't type. I used voice search. I said things like, weather today, how to cook rice, funny cat videos. At first, Google didn't always understand me, but that was the challenge. I changed my voice, tried again, until Google got it. It was a small way to test my pronunciation. All these tools were quiet. No one saw them. No one knew. But they made a loud difference in my progress. I didn't wait for the perfect book or the perfect time. I used what I had, around me, inside me. I turned daily life into my classroom. If you think you need a big plan or big money to learn English, I'm here to tell you, you don't. You need small tools, small habits, and strong belief. You need to enjoy the process. Laugh at your mistakes. Smile at your voice. Your phone can be a teacher. Your mirror can be a friend. Your songs can be your classroom. The world is full of lessons if you choose to see them. Don't wait for someone to teach you. Teach yourself. Talk to yourself. Record yourself. Play with your voice. Use every moment, every object, every tool. That's how I learned. That's my secret. And now it's yours too. Chapter 7. The hard days and the push to keep going. Some days I felt strong. I felt like a real English speaker. I watched a video and understood it. I had a small talk with someone online. I said something, and they understood me. Those were good days. But not every day was like that. Some days were hard. Very hard. There were days when I forgot simple words. I wanted to say something like window or shoes or hungry. But nothing came to my mind. I just stood there. My mouth opened, but no words came out. And I felt stupid, useless. I thought, why am I doing this? It's not working. There were times when I listened to other learners online. Their English was smooth, fast, confident. I looked at them and then at myself. I thought, I will never be like them. I felt small again. I felt behind. I started to compare, and comparison always made me feel worse. Sometimes I felt like I was going in circles. I watched the same cartoon. I sang the same song. I said the same sentences in the mirror. But nothing felt new. Nothing felt better. It was like walking through a fog. I wanted to give up. I thought, what's the point? I still make mistakes. I still don't sound like a native. But here's what I learned. The journey is not always clear. Some days you don't see the progress, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. Just like when a plant grows. You water it every day. You don't see it grow every day, but under the soil the roots are moving, quietly, slowly. That's how I started to think about my learning. I remember one day clearly. I was feeling tired. I didn't want to do anything. I sat on my bed. I opened my notebook. I looked at some of my old notes, and I saw something I had forgotten. A sentence I had written in English. It was simple, but it was my sentence. Today I am happy because I helped my friend. I read it again. I smiled. I had written that weeks ago. I had forgotten. But now, it gave me hope. I realized something important. The first win matters. That first tourist I helped, that first cartoon I understood, that first song I sang, they were not small. They were proof. Proof that I can do it. Proof that I have already started. I just need to keep walking. On hard days, I stopped pushing. I gave myself a break. I watched a fun video. I walked outside. I listened to music, not to learn, but to feel. And then, the next day, I came back. I started again. I said, "Good morning," to the mirror. I named the things in my kitchen. I read one page from my book. Small steps, but still steps. That's when I learned. You don't need to run. You just need to keep moving. Learning a language is not fast. It's not loud. It's quiet, gentle, slow, but it's real. There were times I felt like quitting, but I didn't quit. I rested. I reminded myself why I started. I remembered the dream, to speak freely, to connect, to express, to understand and be understood. That dream was still there, even on the hard days, and that dream pulled me forward. I started writing little notes to myself. Don't stop. You are doing great. Look how far you've come. I stuck them on my wall, my notebook, my mirror. These notes helped. When my heart felt weak, my words gave me strength. Slowly, I began to see the truth. The hard days were not the enemy. They were part of the story. A real story is never perfect. It has highs and lows, joy and pain, laughter and tears. That's what makes it beautiful. So if you are going through a hard day, I want to tell you, it's okay. You are not alone. I have been there many times, and I still have days like that. But I keep going, and you can too. Just take one small step, watch one short video, say one line out loud, read one paragraph. Even if it feels slow, even if it feels silly, that one small step can carry you forward. This is not a race. There's no finish line. There is only the journey. And every word you say, every mistake you make, every day you keep trying, that's what builds your success. This is a slow game, but a beautiful one. Keep playing, keep walking, and never forget, you're already further than you think. Chapter 8. My secret is no longer a secret. I look back now. It feels like a different life, a different person. That boy who was scared to speak, who looked down when the teacher asked a question, who smiled but stayed quiet. That boy was me, but I'm not that boy anymore. Something changed, and it didn't happen in one day. It happened in many, many small ones. I used to think there was a big secret, a magic way to learn English, a perfect method that only smart people knew. I used to search for it, but now I know. There is no magic, no shortcut. The secret is not something special. It is something simple, so simple that we often ignore it. The secret was this. I kept going. I listened every day, even when I was tired. I spoke small lines, even when I felt silly. I watched cartoons and copied the voices. I sang songs I didn't fully understand. I talked to myself in the mirror. I made friends online. I made mistakes. So many mistakes. But I didn't stop. That was the real secret. Not talent, not a course. Just small steps taken again and again. I remember the first time someone said to me, Your English is really good, I smiled. But inside I laughed a little, because I remembered all the days when I felt like a failure, when I cried quietly after a bad conversation, when I couldn't even say hello without shaking. But now someone thought I was good, and they didn't know the whole story behind those two words. It wasn't luck, it wasn't fast, it wasn't easy, but it was real. I don't hide my story now. My secret is not a secret anymore. I tell people, you can do it too. You don't need perfect grammar. You don't need to speak like an actor. You just need to begin. Speak one word, then one more, and keep going. You will sound strange at first. That's normal. You will forget words. That's part of it. But don't stop. Keep practicing. Keep playing. Keep smiling. That is how I learned. I built a small world around me, an English world. My phone, my books, my songs, my videos, my thoughts. Everything slowly turned into English. It didn't feel like study. It felt like life. That was the trick. That was my quiet habit. That was my secret. People ask me now, how did you learn? I say, every day, a little. That's it. No expensive school, no big system, just time and courage. Courage to sound wrong. Courage to be seen. Courage to laugh at my own mistakes. That's what changed me. Now I speak without fear. Not perfectly, but confidently. I can help others. I can share my thoughts. I can tell stories. I can connect. English is not a subject anymore. It's a part of me. It's my second skin. And that makes me proud. So, I want to leave you with one message. If I did it, you can too. I was scared. I was silent. I was full of doubt. But I started. I made a promise to myself. Don't stop. And I didn't. That's the only difference. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need perfect conditions. You just need your small secret. A few words in the morning, a song in the evening, a mirror, and your voice. A little courage, practiced every day. So now, my secret is yours too. Use it. Try it. Share it. And when you speak freely one day, when your English becomes your voice, you will smile. And you will remember, it all began with one simple step.